I'm waiting for somebody to complain when they have to give up a rifle slot for their samurai sword.
Actually, speaking of which,
Undoubtable Echo, that will certainly happen.
The thing is, though, now that you say that, I can't unsee it. You're absolutely right.
Reclaimer, let's talk about that first, because I was going to go in a totally different direction.
You can make as much money as you need and work your way towards any ship in the game.
They were trying to cash in off of that nostalgia and that hype.
I have a feeling today's going to be a pretty good show.
Yeah, let's riff and talk about this stuff. This will be fun.
So I put up some footage from, oh geez, who gave me this? Veet, I think, gave me this footage. I wasn't here for this. You were here for this. And now it's a black screen right now, so it may not look familiar to you. Hold on. This was when you guys were in the CZ.
This is
there.
CZ?
I think was this at Checkpoint?
Yeah, this is Checkpoint. If it's the big one yeah.
It was the big one when you had all those teams coming in. And I'm real upset I missed it because, man, you guys had a lot of fun. You guys had, what was it, like 3 teams? It was one big team who was coming in to do the CZ as like practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you tell me.
Out. Well, no, it's there is still a lot of hurry up and wait, just with the nature of a lot of Star Citizen FPS fights. But even when it is a targeted CZ like this, but having, oh my gosh, what fun! I mean, there was a perfect ambush that was set up, and just to see when you got 5, 6 other characters walking into a room, and then your squad lead just goes, and now, like that's, and just to light them all up. It was, it's a little bit fish in a barrel, but it's just because it so often happens to me on the reverse side. Yeah, doing that to flipping that over and being on the side that is on the ambusher. Oh, it was a lot of fun.
I mean, it sounded like a lot of fun. I came in at the tail end and everyone was like, "Oh, it's rah," laughing and shit. And I was like,
there was so many people,
happy?
even walking around Checkpoint. We were walking around. I remember Duke and I were walking around, and we were like, "There's a lot of people here," and you had like 15 people just waiting right outside the elevator, and you already know that your whole group is already inside the checkpoint, and you're like, "I think this is gonna get spicy."
Yeah.
When you see that many people just loitering at Checkpoint.
Well, after they put in Tier 0,
yeah,
I like the fact, like, to do this, it really helped out these CZs, right? That you can just come in with all your entire loadout still intact, right?
Yeah, you don't
respawn.
lose the whole farm by just showing up and getting capped.
Yeah, and that kind of leads us into our question this week. Our question this week is, what's your loadout? Yeah.
How do you prepare?
And I figured, oh yeah, baby. How do you prepare for this? How do you prepare if you're doing medical? What's your loadout if you're going out mining? All the FPS stuff. And then I think later in the show, we're going to switch and talk about some ships. What's your loadout on your certain style of ship? Because Star Citizen, I think the best part about it, one of the best parts about it that it hasn't really been fulfilled yet, is the customization. And they've made some changes recently that I think we're going to dive into here today that were a little controversial in our own chat.
You're talking about the upcoming changes past this patch, correct?
Yeah, I think they're already in the PTU.
Okay, so yeah, we're getting it. Well, that's all right. Tier 0 was extremely controversial in the chat too, but no, I've had a lot of fun with it. It's nice not being able to lose the whole farm, as I say, just by showing up in these checkpoint CZs.
Yeah, I still want there to be, some kind of punishment for dying.
Yeah.
But for now, it makes these a lot of fun. But actually, I don't really know what I'm talking about because this event we have recording, I wasn't even there.
It was no, I was there. It's fun. Obviously, as a group, there's always things to tweak, whether it be comms, discipline, whether it be like, just where you position, how you divide yourselves. I think there's all sorts of things you can have fun if you like tweaking and stuff. But as far as just the general event, it's so much fun just to see everybody. I mean, when you got 8 people on your team, 10 people on your team, and then roving squads of 10 opponents, that's I haven't seen that kind of FPS gameplay go that well or that tightly since not even Jumptown had. I've been at Jumptown for a lot of different events, and it's just more spaced out. It's a lot smaller of an indoor arena. Typically, whoever opens the door, you could lose 5 or 10 off the drop. One grenade launcher takes out half your squad, that kind of thing. And you get a little bit of that here with these, I guess you'd call them like choke, little choke points. But no, it's what a fun addition to the game.
Oh yeah. Well, we are using Schweet's footage, and I do see him here in the waiting room. We have 2 callers at the waiting room at the same time. This is the first time this has ever happened on the show.
We've never
So I do want to pull them up here. This is Open Comms Radio, your Star Citizen call-in show. You can call in, join us on our Discord, pop in the caller waiting room, and you can, you can call right in. Now we have 3 people
2 jumped to
waiting
3.
in the room.
We're gonna need a system before long, Jar Jar.
We're gonna need a system soon. So we're gonna pull them in one at a time as they came in here, but we'll pull them in rather quickly. So first person on the couch, Shveet, welcome to Open Comms Radio. What's your loadout?
What's my loadout? I am the classic ADP Mark IV in the woodland green, but instead of the helmet, I run the Morozov SH. Baby blue eyes.
Is that what you're running in this clip here?
Is that full heavy?
That's full heavy in my case, yeah. And I'm running in the clip / video, it's the LH, or no, the 63H or 68H, the heavy backpack for it. But I switched that over to the one that you can get off Hurston from the NPCs. But
Why'd you switch
it? Just visual. If I'm laying down, that backpack sticks way far out. The smaller backpack, narrower profile, does the same thing. It holds about the same amount. Does what I need it to do, so I can't complain.
Speed, I'd never thought about that. Is the smaller profile, is that a hitbox thing?
I actually have no idea if it's part of the hitbox, but I've had a couple instances where there's a few events in, I think it was the Obituary CZ, where if you're going up and through kind of all the side routes, you have to lay down, go full prone, and then walk through. And every time I had that heavy back or the larger backpack, I feel like I would clip the top of the vent, and I can't move through, so I have to shimmy over a little bit and then find a sweet spot to go through. But I've never actually tried it with this new backpack on. But beyond that,
that's the one you're wearing right there,
yeah. That's the old heavy ADP backpack. The new one, I don't remember what it's called, but you get, I believe it was off Hurston, the Wanderer's backpack or something like that.
I see in your inventory here, you've got quite a diverse array of ammunition.
Yes, however, my main is, this was before it got buffed, the FS9. Most of the old video games I've played, Battlefield, Call of Duty, especially Call of Duty, and most whatnot, I'm either grenade launchers or light machine guns. And in the world of Call of Duty, and I still remember this from the old COD 4 days, my accuracy was about 24%. That was great.
I mean, hey man,
on what you're shooting, right?
Like, well, yeah. Hey, covering fire,
that's not bad.
Covering fire is where it really puts it down, right?
Because that's what it is.
A couple of weeks ago, me and Murphy, we took out a group of 2 or 3, and I was just laying fire. The guy couldn't turn the corner. Murphy jumped over a barrier, ran straight up. I paused as he crossed my line of fire, and then turned a corner and knocked him out. Whatever, accuracy is just a number. If you use it correctly, that's all that matters. So carrying
Shmi-
over 1,000 rounds of FS9.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. So every time you leave, you're going armed to the teeth.
Why not? Because of the tier 0, I'm just kind of in this position where, well, I'm not losing my armor, and there's a little bit of a glitch, or I don't know if the devs silently redacted losing everything in your equipment, but everything on my plate carrier, which is the ADP Mark IV, I have 8 mags of 75 round or 75 bullet FS9 mags. Usually I'll carry 7 and have 1 for the pistol. But if I die with my inventory, for whatever reason, it just all respawns back in. So I'll carry about 4 extra magazines in the backpack. So if I need to top up in any way, shape, or form, left Alt 1 to basically restock everything, and then off I go.
But you have ammo in there that's not your FS9 ammo. You're like
I
collecting.
probably collected some in this video because we did go in. I'm not going to say I'm a snoop, but I'm looking for whatever boxes. I'm a bit of a gremlin. Loot goblin is the better term. I see a box, take a look at it. Well, I have room in the backpack. We're probably not going further into this room. Might as well just take everything. Drop it if I don't need it.
You have a sidearm on you?
Yes. The is it S38 or P38? The bearing pistol. Actually, you could see in the video right there. That's the one I'm running.
Yeah, I can't see it too well.
Uh,
But okay, because the change in the PTU. Did you see what they've done with the pistols and med pens?
I have heard about that, and to my understanding, it is you can only have one utility slot and a sidearm slot. And the sidearm slot can be either the pistol, the medgun, or the multi-tool. So in my case, I think I'm going to stick with multi-tool medgun.
Well, I thought the multi-tool went in the utility slot.
It could be the other way around, where it's either the medgun and the pistol. I haven't looked too much into the PTU changes
So I
yet.
think like if it's on your right side, just for visual, it's pistol or medgun, and then your left side is your utility slot, which can be basically your utility pistol, but it's not the medgun. So they're trying to make you choose between a sidearm and a medgun. Which I mean, the choice is obvious, though. That's the thing. For me, at least, the choice is obvious.
I would agree.
It depends on what you want to do. In my case, if I'm with a group, I'm probably going to favor the medgun and traction beam combo, just because I can pull a buddy over, hit him with a medgun, and then off I go. Alternatively, if I do need the firepower, let's say I'm not running FS9 or if I'm low on ammunition, it would be most likely the pistol in hand, because I could still stab a teammate with a med stim, and I carry usually about 10 to 15 of them on me. 4 on my body, 10 in the backpack. So it's kind of one of those what makes most sense in what regards. The pistol I run with a silencer, so if I'm doing a checkmate CZ and I want to make sure I'm not too loud to annoy the residents, that's kind of probably what I'll go. So it's situational, but it'll most likely be traction beam medgun for me in larger groups.
Yeah, I'm eager to see what kinds of other sidearms. Let's just call them all sidearms that they're going to introduce for that combo. And then on the utility side, you have the multi-tool, but is there going to be another utility, or is it just going to be what kind of multi-tool you're using?
It's very difficult to say, to be honest. Like the multi-tool, I would, if I had the option, probably run the multi-tool tractor beam and have the medical combo. But the issue is now you got to pull. If I wanted to do the traction beam medgun thing, where it's pull the traction beam out, pull buddy over, swap the module out in the multi-tool, then hit him with the medgun, and it's kind of
It's a lot of it's a lot of steps to get there.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
think that's I like the. I'm a fan of the more making things amplifying the choice that you have before you even enter the combat zone. I think is makes it more fun. And you can have people that I think there would still be, just to go on the side of people that would want to take a pistol.
Mhm.
The idea is that switching your pistol is faster than reloading, right?
Yes,
I mean,
and
that's the
that's why I
idea.
run it. Like, if I'm completely out of the magazine for the FS9, where it's 0 out of 75, then yeah, that it's a longer reloading animation, so everyone knows pistol out first before even attempting it, unless you can find cover. But
can't I just switch to my secondary?
Right, your
What my
secondary gun.
yeah.
in your case, in most people's cases, yes, you would be able to also switch to your secondary. However, in my case, I don't run a secondary. The secondary slot for me is going to be whatever large weapon that I can't fit in my backpack to take with me.
Well,
So
like
if
a
I'm
railgun.
the Scourge, if I find a Scourge railgun or the Animus rocket launcher or missile launcher, sorry, or what have you, or even just a P8 that I find on the ground along the way, I'll take that with me as going back to the loot goblin, looter shooter
Yeah, you
days.
want to take more away with you. Yeah,
Yes,
makes total sense.
because the backpack I can't fit the FS9 into, so I can't. There's a certain limitation.
Yeah, I like those limitations. And I like you, Shveet. This is your first time on the show.
Hey,
Thank you
welcome to the
for
show.
thank you for coming in. I know you've been listening, so I think I know you know how it works. Is we have a pretty big couch here, and you could stay on the show with us, and you just scoot over on the couch, and we're gonna let someone else up on it. If you're watching the show on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're getting a lot of views, which is really cool. Really quickly, thank you to everyone who's listening. I didn't expect to get so many views so quickly. Tav,
Who
I don't know
are
about
you
you.
people?
Who?
Who are you? Well, I don't know, buddy, but I'm gonna shimmy over to you, and we're gonna hang out on the couch over here.
That's what I'm
Let's
talking
do it.
about.
Let's
Open Comms
bring
Radio.
in
Feel free
another
to join
caller.
us. We're gonna pull up our good friend here, who you may know from the extended postscript show last week. He's here right on time this week. Lord Anubis, thank you for coming into Open Comms Radio. What's your loadout?
My loadout is giant white astronaut spacesuit. It's slow, but I got a rocket. And Demeco. I like the Demeco.
Demeco, okay.
Are you talking about the
Yeah.
Zeus suit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the best
the
suit in the game.
Marshmallow Man.
That's the best suit in the game. It also has the best backpack. It's low profile, and it has the biggest capacity. So you can fit anything you want in there.
I
You
did
can go
not know
loot
that about
goblining
these
everywhere.
suits.
And yeah, and it has a full heavy loadout, so pretty cool.
You mentioned the Demeco. I used to love the Demeco until somebody put an FS9 in my hands, and I was like, oh, this is a lot more. It feels more accurate. Demeco, I guess the rounds are, I presume, are much stronger out of the Demeco. I used to love it, but it's just that at distance, it's got a bit of a spread on it. That's a nasty spread. But I
Part of
love
it,
it. You always recognize it when you hear it too. So it's maybe fear is a component.
part of that spread helps when they're running too at distance, because if you're too accurate, I mean, at least you can hit them every once in a while. It's like a shotgun, well, at least for trap shooting. Uh, at distance, I mean, your spread does help your chances.
That's a good point. Yeah,
So
it's a little more spray and pray, but when the rounds are that strong, yeah, it
yeah,
works.
yeah,
BIG, when do we get slugs?
I know. Shotgun slugs would be amazing.
It's either that
I want
or
to see the shells
load.
coming out of my guns.
I think it's weird that the best shotgun in the game right now is the lore put together assembled Drake. It's the
Oh yeah, the pyro one.
yeah,
that they
it's the
gave you at
pyro, the dead
BlizzCon.
bet.
Yeah.
With the oh my gosh, why is
Dead
the name?
rig. Dead rig.
Yeah, it's a dead rig.
Yep. Love that gun.
It's so effective. It's extremely effective, and even you can take the auto shotgun, like the trigger pull on like even the R97 is just instant, but it just doesn't do anything. It feels like you're hitting them with, yeah, and then you pick up a dead rig and you're like, well, that just drops somebody clean very quickly. You're like, that's, yeah, I think it's interesting. All the manufactured shotguns seem to be a little bit weaker right now than the
makeshift.
than the makeshift.
Well, that does bring into the problem of them constantly changing the stats of everything. In the ever present chase of balance. But when they really find a winner, they can just also make other guns good. They don't always have to nerf everything. So a little weird that they do that, because the R97 is an amazing shotgun.
Yeah, it's I used to love it, but now I'd prefer the dead rig.
But
guess they want
nobody
you
here
more
is
in
running
pyro.
the
But
sniper,
that's what's
huh?
fun. A patch changes, and at least for especially if you're making content, like there's all new stuff to talk about with every patch.
Unless you own an
the meta
Ion or
changes.
Oh, we're getting to ships, Anubis. Don't you worry.
yeah.
You could lead us in if you want. Do you have a ship loadout that you want? Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, with the I guess the F7C Mark II, since or F7CM, Super Hornet, whatever. Anyways, that one. Generally running NDBs with the Revenants, just because they're kind of close in speed, and pretty happy with that. I'm not.
So what
I
are
haven't really
NDBs?
played the
Is it a ballistic or a laser?
No, those are laser repeaters. They're blue. They look like giant Bluetooth earpieces that are on your ship, and they have a bit of speed, about 1400. The Revenant's about 1200. So you get a lot of power behind them. They're faster than the attritions. So you get a decent amount of power. And you're kind of missing it on the speed compared to the what are they called? CC or CF 337s. Like, it's not as fast as those, but it's a decent balance.
And and you're putting those on the F7?
Yeah, the F7C Super Hornet thingy. Because I don't
See, I
have an
haven't
F7A
run a
anymore.
fighter in a while. Back when I was running fighters, it was always the cannons. You always wanted cannons. So now I have a Zeus. Zeus doesn't turn quite well. It's a good ship. It gets away fast, but it doesn't turn fast enough. So it has a turret. On the turret, you can put repeaters, which I guess are meta right now. I don't know. But on the front, I always have cannons on it, because if you ever you're gonna get like a couple shots in when you're shooting at someone, and you want to make sure those shots do the maximum amount of damage.
Well,
It's
that
different than
ship
if
has,
you're in like a
yeah,
Hornet or whatever.
definitely a different mission rule for that ship. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean the Zeus, it's really less about the guns and more about your shields and your power plant. That's
You're
whatever the
probably,
meta
yeah. You
is,
see a
whatever the
fighter,
stealth
you're
is.
probably gonna run
Every time,
every
unless
time.
it's a starter ship, really. If you're in a Zeus, if you're in a team, so I can do team fights with you guys, because people honestly tend to ignore the Zeus.
Oh yeah.
And then you've got those cannons.
Pity.
You know what I mean? And then
What's
you've
the
got those
Zeus again?
missiles. I think it comes with Dementors at stock, but you can put whatever. I don't know what missile loadout's the best, but maybe
Wait,
you
did you
guys
say
have some.
Dementors? It shoots out Dementors? That's kind of crazy.
Was that the Harry Potter villain?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I'm really bad with names.
I'm
Like
just thinking of
across the board.
Dementors.
This might be what you think. Yeah, or anything that would more disabling.
What are
I
they
mean, Matt,
called? They're called Dementors, aren't they?
In the
Thinking
Funny
about
Wizard
distortions?
game, yes.
You know what? We don't have to waste airtime on this.
But what I do want to point out with the video playing, earlier you guys brought up the grenade launcher that it can wipe out a team.
Mhm.
Grenades can also do that, and shortly you'll see in this part of the clip, basically, I'm peeking through this little Z corner and then just messing around with the bodies with the tractor beam just to mess with the enemy. And then they throw a grenade. It throws both me and Anubis into the green gas behind us. And I just wanted to bring that point up before I joined in.
This is you trying to catch up with the group where is going through an ambush in the very adjacent room.
Yeah, in the next room. But anyways,
Yeah, I remember this
figured just,
grenades is an interesting thing just because I remember throwing a grenade in this very instance. I was like, okay, I got grenades. I saw 3 people walk in. I can throw a grenade. It's not the best throw mechanic, and every now and then you'll hit like that little piece of dangling wire that's in front of you, and it'll bounce right
You
off.
can you can say it, Tab. It's a terrible throw mechanic.
It's a terrible throw
It's
mechanic.
awful. You
And
should be able to just lob them out, where like you tap the button and it just throws it.
that thing,
Like in
I
any
could
game.
have caught it. I could have eaten it. And I was like, I'm definitely dead. And no, I survived a grenade. Grenades seem more
and there I go.
knockback than they are damage dealing at the moment. Well,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. This the footage we're watching, maybe it's a different that grenade was clearly effective. The grenade launcher to me was always when you can fire off 3 of them and it has that knockback and you can get 3 rounds off so quickly with the launcher. That's definitely a weapon to look out for. And
Yeah,
the
if you're using
downside with
grenades, you want the launcher.
CZs and with tier 0 is anybody who has a grenade launcher probably is rolling with one. So a squad rolling with grenade launchers is extremely difficult to deal with. But
Where can you buy grenades? For the grenade launcher, right? You have to. It's like a what is
I
it called? A
think
barrel or
they're-
whatever.
I
Grenade
think
store.
they're-
Magazine.
You
Oh, I
can
didn't
get
know
them from the
they're only
vendor right there.
lootable now.
oh, the rounds for the grenade launcher are only lootable. I never roll with a grenade launcher. I would just get smashed by it. So I can tell you on the receiving end, it's extremely effective. For especially clearing out hiding spaces when you get to these CZs and everyone's trying to find a little cubby hole to hide in.
Yeah.
Clearing it out with a grenade launcher is extremely effective in these CZs.
Well, Lord Anubis, this is your first official time on the show, but you know how it goes. We have a big couch here where you can scoot over on the couch. This is Open Comms Radio. We're going to invite our next caller up. He's been waiting in the room long enough, and we don't want to keep anyone waiting here. But actually, before we let him in, Tav, I think we have a word from our sponsor.
Oh, yes, our sponsor. Let's get right to it. Stand by really quickly while I try to find.
Oh, I should have given you more warning.
I know. It's like, oh,
All right.
yes. No, we can talk about it. We got to make corporate happy, right? We just absolutely have to.
Well, while Tab's looking for it, I'll tell you, it is Dominators, not Dementors. We can thank our next guest for telling me that
makes
one.
sense.
Yeah.
I've found the copy from corporate. Do you find yourself out there exploring the verse and suddenly famished? Reach for a Cruz Lux, the only green bottle that satisfies your thirst and hunger. Grab a Cruz Lux, setting you right before every adventure.
Open Comms Radio, like and subscribe, guys. We know you're watching. Thank you so much for watching. Just give us a little subscribe down there. That will mean the most to me. It'll mean the most to this guy, Wicket. Welcome to Open Comms Radio, your Star Citizen call-in show.
Corporate
What's
is
your
here.
loadout?
Citizens.
Welcome back.
Citizen.
Wait, do you use bodies as armor if you're saying citizens?
Long-time listener. 11th time caller.
Woo! All right, everybody, give him an applause there, dude.
Can't believe we made it past 10.
I don't know.
It's
If my mic
wild.
is picking this
Double
up.
digits.
Dr. Cruz sends his regards. He's watching.
I hope
Checks in the mail.
My loadout is anything with a cape. I like capes.
So the
but-
Lynx core base.
Sometimes, but for anything PvP related, FPS gear, it's good. Any heavy gear, I don't care what it is. It's usually Morzov, a Karna, an LH86 pistol with a suppressor, the tractor beam in my Pyro multi-tool, big backpack, multiple bottles of Cruz Lux, and we're all set, ready to go. And of course, extra ammo for whatever might come our way.
Can we talk
But-
about suppressors on that pistol for a second? Because it seems that is there utility there that I'm just missing? I've tried throwing suppressors on sniper, and it seems to make it quieter, makes it do less damage.
I don't know
Is that-
about the less damage, but it does silence them. Not 100%, but like I've been using, I've been hunting the Copions, for instance. This is not PvP, it's PvE. I've been hunting the Tundra Copions, and I found like one of the best weapons to kill those things with is the Coda pistol with a suppressor, because takes 2 shots to kill a Copion. You get a 6-shot magazine, so that's 3 Copions per reload. And if they're just slightly apart a little bit, a lot of times they won't hear the shots, so they don't aggro. So you can just clip them, get their horns, and get out. I don't think it reduces damage much. I don't know for sure. I don't know. I've not seen any stats based on that.
I believe
But-
there's, at least on some of the suppressors, there's a damage down, but I don't know on the pistols.
It was noticeable. I tested on a sniper rifles, and for at least it was noticeable for me on an arrowhead if I put a sniper or a silencer on it.
I
But
just like the look of the
I just
sniper.
didn't know if anybody else had more experience with the silencers, even when it comes to PvE, if there's like less aggro.
The only time
with
I ever
using
used
it?
the sniper rifle is the ballistic, the P6, and I used the suppressor on that, and I mainly used it when we had the fight for Orson, when we had to go to the platforms, and there were so many NPCs, and the P6 at the time would dome any of those NPCs. It was 1 shot, 1 kill if you domed them in the head, and having it suppressed did seem to lessen the aggro of the NPCs around you. I don't know if it suppressed any damage, maybe, but the P6 hits pretty damn hard. But I think since then, it's been nerfed a little bit, and it doesn't hit as hard as it used to, because I remember killing players in PvP situations with the P6 1 shot. Now, they may have been using a light armor head or medium, I don't know, but I just remember that happening, like at Jumptown, for instance. Now, in the current meta, I just think right now in our current patch, not PTU patches, but PU patches, the Karna for me is king. Especially if you get some of those tweaker mods.
Amen. Cheers to that. Karna,
the
there's
Karna
no
does
reason to
really
switch off of
good.
that.
It does really good unless you're on a shitty server and there's a lot of desync and things aren't working. Then it doesn't really matter what you're shooting. It seems like a lot of times I'll hit people and no register.
It's just a very effective weapon platform at the moment. But as we were talking, it's getting a nerf. I haven't seen the details on the nerf. I just know
Yeah,
there's a
I-
nerfing coming.
I've seen some chatter about it getting a nerf, but it seems kind of crazy how much time they spend on nerfing ships and weapons and stuff like that. They're working on balancing, but half the time we don't even have an elevator that works. It's like, I don't know where the priority is here. I understand.
I can understand it
those
from
are different
CIG's
teams,
side.
like
If everybody is carrying, they can see the data, and if they see the data of everybody is carrying a Karna, they're probably from a gameplay. They've put all this effort into other weapons. They're gonna want to find a way to spread that out.
Yeah, but there's, you guys have all played different video games and MMOs for long enough. You know how it is. There's always a meta. The Nerf bat is always going around. It's an ongoing thing. Somebody's always going to find. Yes, there's always going to be the one weapon that is the meta weapon that does a little bit better than everything else, and that's the one that everybody migrates to, and that's the thing that they use then. You know,
I'm gonna push back at this a little bit. I don't know about MMOs, probably in MMOs, but games like Halo, Call of Duty, they don't necessarily have a meta weapon. They have meta weapons, plural.
With
Like
an
they
A.
have a
Yes.
yeah. But even then, like if you can customize the weapon enough, in Call of Duty, for example, you can customize the shit out of your guns. If you haven't played like the Warzone or whatever, it's
Mhm.
free. Download it. You can see like the gun customization Call of Duty is maybe its best feature. And you can change the recoil, the kick, you can put whatever fucking sight you want on it, silencers, all that stuff, and it actually changes it, and it gives you data points.
But there isn't
showing you.
a single loadout of a weapon that is like the proverbial. Okay, this is the best. This is meta. This is the best. This is the best semi-auto. This is the best shotgun. This is the best rifle. This is the best LMG. They don't have that.
No, well, there's bests, like plural. So there's definitely some that are better than others.
Right. And then there's going to be some.
It's a hexagon, isn't it? Like it's just a hexagon where you have faster fire rate at one point. You have, straight up hit scan, point of fire at one point of the hexagon, and it's just you want to have different play styles, right? Like to
Yeah, it
play
depends how you're playing.
to that hexagon.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah,
that's
like
right now the Karna just seems to dominate 80% of the hexagon.
Yes.
Whether it be
Yeah.
to me, there's no use for SMGs. There's no, I mean, even these LMGs, as much as I love the FS9, it's just the
FS9
Karna
used to be
seems
king.
to dominate 80% of the hexagon. And so I think it's cool that they're trying to let's put the plot points back, to their respective ends and make it, if you like a high rate of fire, if you want to be an LMG guy,
Mhm.
then we have different LMG weapons. Like bring the Demeco back. Like bring the FS, make these for the style that you're trying to play.
I hope that there's balance, but it's a great moving bullseye usually for most developers for most games, and it usually ends up being missed more often than hit. And what that ends up being is that creates the quote unquote meta for that patch cycle or for that game for that amount of time until there's a nerf, and then something new comes along that this seems to be the new meta, and whether it is a meta or not, but once the community, the gaming, the players see that is what everybody else is gravitating towards, whether it is the better option or not, the perceived option is that device. In this case, it's the Karna. And just because then everybody's using it, the numbers show, the Karna is the most favorite weapon. We got to nerf it because everybody's using it. And maybe it's not as overpowered as they think. They're just looking at numbers,
Oh, I agree with you. Yeah, that shouldn't it shouldn't be the sole informing of the logic based on how many people are using it. It should be, these SMGs should have much faster reloads, or I think there's other ways to balance it.
Well, there's
Maybe even just
also
basically
surprised about
equipping it, looking down sights. Maybe that takes extra time.
Well,
If it's
I
a
heard
heavy
you guys earlier touch on this about the removal of the medgun, bespoke medgun
Yeah.
slot on the leg armor.
Yeah, you can either choose a medgun or a pistol, basically.
I think that's dumb.
I was gonna say it's contentious. Is this give us the hot take.
Well, the way I look at it is that they're saying one of the reasons they say they're doing that is to give players choice, according to CIG and some of their communications in Spectrum. Well, that seems like they're taking choice away in a way, because I don't see what I don't see what the harm is in having that, because that's a bespoke slot. You can't put a pistol there. You can only put the medgun there, right? I think they would be way better served in keeping that and coming up with like an encumbrance modifier. So In other words, this is already implemented somewhat. If you're using light armor, you're a lot faster than somebody who's using medium armor, and you're quite a bit noticeably faster than somebody that's wearing heavy armor, right? So if they would implement an encumbrance mechanic to where the more you're carrying, the more loot gobbling you're doing, the more stuff in your pack, up until it's full, the slower you move up to a point. Maybe there's a maximum slowdown that it does because you don't want to just make somebody
Or a
sitting
gradual one.
Yeah, well, it's gradual as you pick up. Do you really need to be carrying 50 magazines of Karna ammo?
Yes.
Well, if you want, you can, but it's going to slow you down, and it's going to be noticeable.
I say yes
That's how it
because the
should
number
work
of
in my
times
mind.
the number
Keep
of times in CZs I've seen people have like 20 plus magazines for whatever weapon is just astounding.
Exactly. So if they would introduce that encumbrance, which is in a lot of MMOs, it's in a lot of games, period, you can keep putting stuff on, but it's going to slow you down. If in the
Skyrim, man. You want the Skyrim model.
well,
You pick up one sweet roll, and then you can't move
You
anymore.
can't walk.
Well,
I was gonna say, doesn't Tarkov have kind of like a weight system?
I don't know, I don't play
Yes.
that, but
Yeah.
the encumbrance model has worked in a lot of different games. I know in some MMOs I played, you can keep putting stuff in, but you at some point you get so slow it's almost like crawl speed.
Yeah.
And that allows them to also introduce well, I mean, that's the thing is that when they introduce this there is the rumors that there's going to be doing it soon with the biological loop, adding in solid and liquid waste. Too much liquid waste, you can't aim. Too much solid waste, you're encumbered, and you have to relieve it. And those are the rumors right now.
Is there
No, this is on the Reddit or the 4chan or the.
Oh no, this is the rumor I'm starting.
Oh, okay. Wait, so does that mean tier 0 spacesuit ejection ports?
Oh.
Tier 0 spacesuit ejection ports. Oh, look, a little flap in the back.
Yeah, a little flap in the back.
The Darth Vader crotch slot.
It's just got a little iris that opens, and you see it go bloop.
Well, mine would be a big iris.
The thing
I
is,
wonder,
is
would
what-
it work like a airlock or something, where it just goes into a chamber and then the other airlock opens, venting it?
No, I store mine and then just compact it and compact them, and then eventually
it's like
they're
body
just
armor?
hard, solid balls, and I use those instead of grenades, and I just throw them on people's helmets, and they splat, and you can't see through them.
It's
I'm writing this down on Geneva Convention 2 Electric Boogaloo.
But to get back to the thing about the med gun slot.
Let's go back to that, Wicket, because I think it's contentious for a lot of reasons.
But
I think there's a huge argument for what is CIG to say, let's give by more choice. They're talking about when 6 of us go up to enter a room, there's now the standard requirement of, do you not have a med gun? Because if you don't have a med gun, you just didn't plan enough. Where now you could have a call out to be like, how are you rigged? I'm rigged full auto or LM. You could just say like LMG, tractor, or LMG pistol, LMG. It would just, you'd specialize more. Medics would be more. I feel like medic
As a
would be
specialist.
more an actual role. It'd be more specialized.
Mm.
And I think being more specialized gives people that want to choose to be that medic, it gives them a better opportunity than, the person, the point man who is armed to the teeth with a pistol and has everything, also has a med gun, so he's just as effective at you as being a medic. No, why not make it more specialized? I think that's the choice.
So if they want to go in
give the
that
medic their due.
direction, I was going to say, if we do want them to go in that direction, or if they are going in that direction, I hope to see other medical equipment a little bit more often, where I've more been using the medgun to self-heal as well, but depending on the way we go, it's like, okay, traction beam and then medgun anyone, but if we want a true healer or a combat medic role, it could be that there's a different weapon that actually picks someone up from being knocked out unconscious. could be that the med gun is only a
Defibrillator?
temporary, like just have straight defibrillator to bring them back from being unconscious, or the med gun only brings them up for, let's say, 5 minutes at most, and then they go right back down, falling unconscious. Where, like, let's say the drugs wear out.
Well, they have that kind of now. Well, they did. I don't know.
But does
still
that
make it.
I
really
wouldn't even
mean
hate
anything in the
that.
gown
That would create a
now?
triage situation to where you would need a more specialized role. I'm all for,
Yeah.
and I know I'm parroting. Broccoli couldn't make this conversation, but I concur with him at that. The choice is having these specialized roles prior to combat. I think is fun. It allows people to specialize, and I think that's the choice. Is do you take a medic with you instead of just 5 FPS players that know how to max the game?
So
Right.
Yeah, I have a lot to say on medics, but we do have a first-time caller in the waiting room.
Let's go.
I don't want to keep him waiting, and the couch, as you guys know, gets a little bit bigger every time. So open comms radio guys, you can call in at the show anytime. We're not going to keep you waiting. We have our guest with us here, who I'm sure has liked and subscribed on the YouTube. This is Echo 6. Echo 6, welcome to Open Comms Radio. What's your loadout?
So I usually just rock a P4 and just standard whatever medium armor I can buy in the shop.
E4, let's go. Classic, tried and true.
That makes I rock the P8, the PASC. It's a newer I think it's a submachine gun, but it's beautifully accurate. And I don't look away. All these guys are talking about the Karna and everything, and I'm just like, dude, P8SC is where it's at.
It's got a
Submachine guns are always
liquid load.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's rate of fire. You get that higher rate of fire, you know, on the hexagram.
Brain prey.
Hexagon.
So
Echo, yeah, continue, please.
so I had to join after they started talking about the specialization in the medics. I know some people that really want the specialization, they really want the dedicated medics, but in my experience in the real world, that's just not how it's done. Our medics were carrying rifles and going out on patrol with us and engaging the enemy just like everybody else was. Your basic infantryman was trained on how to use all the medical equipment. They knew how to do. We used to give IVs to each other. We all knew how to put on a tourniquet, triage somebody, do a medical 9-line, call in for medevac. So I know the specialization sounds good, and it's good to have somebody dedicated. Like, hey, if somebody goes down, you're going to be the one to revive them. But at the same time, everybody should be able to do everybody else's job.
A quick patch I could understand, absolutely. Like, I mean, even going back historically, that's always been the case with even just morphine kits administered to most people. But to have you still have a corpsman, do you not?
You do, but he's engaging the enemy. He's carrying
He's
a
armed,
rifle.
absolutely.
And he's doing everything else. And of course, he's the primary, but you can't always guarantee that your corpsman's not going to go down. So while you may have that guy that's designated, maybe he's more trained, more experienced, has more knowledge. That doesn't mean that everybody can't be a medic, and that doesn't mean that your medic can't carry a rifle and engage the enemy.
Echo, I love this perspective you're giving us right now, and okay, so I do have a question though. So what is the difference between your corpsman and everybody else?
That's his primary. That's all he does. I mean, well, not all he does, but like that's what his day-to-day job is, and so that's where all his specialized knowledge is. He's at extensive training. While we might go through, a little 1-week course, we get to do a lot of hip pocket training. Like I said, we'll practice with the IVs, and you practice triage and stuff like that. That's all they were trained to do. So they go to, I don't know how long their school is, but they go to a dedicated school. The corpsmen that at least train with the Marine Corps, they take them out and do some gory stuff to keep animals alive. So they they'll shoot an animal, and then they're like, okay, you got to keep that animal alive. And so they get a much more intense training than your general average person would.
They really do that?
Yes.
Echo
It makes sense.
in gameplay, in terms of gameplay, while it's still being a fun while still making it fun. Is there room for that, and where is the room for that?
So I think they're going to have to add that with, once they start adding more medical gameplay. Something we were talking about in chat was like they need to add more bleed. Because you might sure you'll hit that med pen and it'll help keep you alive, but if you're still bleeding, maybe that doesn't help you, keep you from bleeding. So you have to know which one of those other med pens is a coagulant, so that you grab that one and inject yourself with that, or you have to use the med pen and you switch over. It's not just the magical, you press the button and it heals you. So until they start adding some of that complexity to the medical gameplay, then there's not going to be that need for that specialized knowledge.
Yeah,
So
I
sorry,
feel like
just
we have all
extending
those
on
med
this.
pens, but they just don't serve a use at this moment.
Yeah, 100%. They don't
We've
do
got
anything.
a small rainbow color of available med pens, and they just I've never had the use for anything but the red one if it shoots you up all the way.
But
yeah.
Echo, in the Marine Corps, is there a difference in the things that corpsman is carrying in his loadout?
Yeah, he'll
100%.
carry a full medical kit. So he's usually the one carrying like the IVs. He's got a lot more medications, especially like the specialized painkillers and all that stuff. Where we just have like it's basically almost a boo-boo kit.
Okay.
It's got like basic band-aids. It's got some like water treatment stuff in there, and it does have some like better bandages. But usually when we would actually deploy, we would add a lot to that it wouldn't normally cover. So we'd add it's called an Asherman's chest seal. So that's for like when you have a chest wound. It'll seal that up so you can continue to breathe and it doesn't collapse your lung. We would add tourniquets to it. There's these I forgot what they're called, rubber tube that you would do to insert to somebody's nose if you had like face damage, but you had to still be able to give them mouth to mouth. It was a way to be able to give them mouth to mouth if there wasn't a mouth there to give them mouth to mouth too. So there's a little bit of like additional stuff that's smaller that might be specialist that we'd carry because usually it's smaller and we're trained how to use that stuff. But then there's stuff that's like outside our scope that the corpsman would carry, or that he would carry at his med pick, just because he would carry more medical gear. Like me, I was a communicator, so I would usually have extra radios. Usually carry a few extra batteries. You'd have like the machine gunner would carry more machine gun ammo. You have a grenadier, he would carry grenades. So we all have like little specialties, but so you would carry more of the things related to your specialty.
So he'd have like an AED and other things like that.
I guess in terms of medical, everyone would have an IFAC, but the medic would have a little bit extra in terms of helping other people out then.
Yep. A lot of the stuff we carry is for self-care, but then the stuff he carries is for like everybody else in addition to yourself.
That is, in terms of Star Citizen gameplay, that is brilliant. In terms of the medic role, trying to mirror that, I think makes a lot of sense.
But that goes to choice. I mean, even when you say like when your support gunners are carrying extra ammo of a certain type, or there's a reason. I think this, going back to others' points of, I think specializing a little bit in terms of gameplay gives other people more options. To whereas if it's a unified form, kind of where we are, what it feels like we are now, of everybody can carry the meta weapon, everybody can carry the infant healer. It makes it to where there's no real specialization in the loadout.
Well, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't specialize. I don't think we should force specialization.
That's fair.
Because you would definitely especially if they start including encumbrance or making it so the more you carry, the more you slow down. Well, maybe I don't want to carry 2,000 rounds of ammunition. Maybe I only want to carry 500 rounds of ammunition. Maybe I don't want to carry 20 grenades. Maybe I only want to carry 2. That sort of thing, where if it starts slowing you down or makes you noisier if you're dealing with PvE, because stealth doesn't really work when you're doing PvP. But those sort of things, where then
we have a little bit of that now with light and heavy armor.
Yeah,
Just a little bit of it.
just a little bit. But I think some of that will, if where everybody can be a generalist, but you know, if you're doing squad on squad, that may not necessarily be the best option.
Well, I think what they can do is two things: get rid of the med gun altogether, and change it into essentially a tricorder. It's going to tell you, okay, this is what's going on with this patient, and this is what you should do. Apply a tourniquet, or to cut off bleeding, or apply a splint in order to stabilize a stage 2 or a stage 3 wound on a limb. Like a broken leg or something like that. Administer these particular pens in order to patch them up.
Yeah, definitely, but that all comes down to like how far that they want to get with the medical gameplay.
Yeah, but I
Well, I
think
think-
having a dedicated scanner instead of a do everything gun, I think probably will specialize it enough
Well,
without
the
having
mud gun
to.
works like a scanner now. You just point it at somebody, it kind of tells you what's wrong with them.
Oh yeah, but you can also introduce. You can change it so now you also have to have those pens on you. So you got to be prepared for that, and introduce things like splints and tourniquets.
Which, at the same time, we're talking about a video game, as we can go as hyper realistic as Arma could
Yeah.
be, or Tarkov, but we also got to take into consideration there are solo players. There are people that aren't going to be going this deep into a combat role, so to speak. Like,
Yeah, but they
I
can go to a
understand.
med bed.
Well, for the most part, the med gun, for the most part, in a combat situation, in PvP situation, and this was pointed out in our Red Scar chat the other night when this came up, and people were discussing it and talking about the finer points of removing that med slot, the med gun slot on your armor. It was brought up that in most PvP situations, for example, it makes no sense to use the med gun in the middle of a fight because it's too slow when the med pen is almost instant, compared to the med gun. What the med gun, on the other hand, is great for healing up your fellow comrades that are in your group or your squad, right? You can tractor a down player into cover and then bring them back up from a down state, get them back in the action. That's what the med gun is for. Now you can use that same med pen to do the same thing, but it's a lot more cumbersome to heal somebody else with that thing than it is to heal yourself. Whereas the med gun, you just point and shoot. I still just think that if they want to take it away, that's all fine and good. I mean, I'll still keep one in my backpack. And just it would be even slower to use, but I don't see what the point is of removing it. It's just another in the long line of bad decisions that makes the game less easy to play. In my mind, it just makes things more difficult for no real benefit. So now I got to swap it out of my backpack, and we all know the inventory system is such a great idea that they have right now. I mean, if anything, that's one of the few things that should be just scrapped and redone almost altogether. It's just we're so used to it now, I think, but it's a bad inventory system.
So what if your medic can permanently heal a type 3 wound if you guys can get back to cover, and he has some sort of, or they have some sort of specialized equipment they can put over your leg, and now you don't have to go back to the med bed?
Well, that
would solve a lot of problems.
Then why have med beds?
This is their patchwork solution.
Then why have med beds?
It might be a big machine like this, like you're going to be taking up a weapon slot. And maybe people might not want to make that choice. Maybe people might just want to patch up temporarily, but eventually, it might be something like, hey, you can stick it on your head so you're not dizzy because you got a 3 on your head or a 2 on your head. But it's going to be a little cumbersome, so it's going to be taking up a significant portion in order to specialize it.
Yeah, let's say like you got like a tier 2 or a tier 3 like on your leg, and in order to fix that, you got to put like an exoskeleton or something like something that wraps around your leg so that now you can mobilize as opposed to limp along.
Like a medical 3D printer that just you just clamp on and it does it, and then you put it back on your backpack.
Okay. Well, shouldn't that take time to implement? It shouldn't just be instant. So if it's instant, why can't we just have a little white gun to point at them and do the same
Well,
thing?
no. I mean, it should take time. I mean, it'd be something that you want to go find cover, see the two of you can do it. You know.
And then you have to balance how long that should take. I think the system with the med gun is just so much simpler.
It's simpler, but it introduced a lot of problems, I believe.
I don't
And
Just
the med gun
by
still doesn't.
simplifying it so much. You had all these other. There's so many drugs that affect you. They have this entire pharmaceutical
Well, they used to have that,
hierarchy.
and you used to have to go into the advanced menu of the med gun to fix your drug level, or else your vision was blurry. I haven't had that issue in a long time. It seems like they just turned that off.
Yeah, I kind of wish Tondar was here to back me up on this, but they had that. There's a lot of people who like that aspect of gameplay.
Yeah, but they took it
being
out.
kind of the medic, and it's when you're a squad of 6 and everybody has equally the capability. I mean, maybe you're right, Echo. Like, it's just about expanding that gameplay. Maybe it is some features that we need.
I just think if we're going down the whole simulation arc of Star Citizen, you know, if we're going to simulate stuff in the future. Now, we've never done any kind of combat in outer space in real life, so we really can't speak from experience, just from movie genres and sci-fi genre, what they've done.
The government wants to tell you.
Don't even get started. The point being is that in a some kind of futuristic future world where you got armor and exoskeletons and all this other stuff. Anytime you left the safety of your spaceship or your little hovel your character lives in, he would be strapped from head to toe. He would have shit concealed in every little orifice. He would have knives taped to him. He would have guns velcroed to his chest, and
every orifice.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
You want to double down on that?
The point being is that
it's the main thruster.
In the future world where your environment is your spacesuit, and you without that spacesuit, you got to go back to the ship to do whatever. You're going to take as much as you can with you when you go out to go into a structure in like a FPS situation where you're running around inside some building or something. You're going to take as much with you as you can carry, realistically, right? That's where that encumbrance comes in. You're going to strap as many weapons to yourself as you can and have enough ammo to use them all. Or it might be, a double-barrel shotgun. You blow somebody away, you throw that shotgun away because you don't have time to reload. Now you're switching over to this other weapon. You might even have a damn axe strapped to your back. Who knows? Whatever it takes to get through, because it's not like you can scurry under a bush because you're out in space. There's rocks and shit, and you're in some kind of structure that you've EVA'd to. Basically, everything you need is going to be on your body, and I think that where the player choice should come in is with encumbrance. How much can you realistically bring with you before you're just crawling, at the slowest speed possible? You have to make that choice. Okay, I'm going to carry this gun, and that gun, and this amount of weapons. And as I use the weapons and the ammo, I'll get quicker as I go because I'm less weight.
Yeah, the XCOM reminded me of something. They need to add the gameplay, and as you add gameplay, they will add more specialities. So, like the axe, that's normally part of a breacher's kit. We don't have that yet. Like, we should be able to breach a space station or breach a building. That I don't have the pass key. I don't have a fuse to rig. I can't hack the door. Well, fine, I'll just blow the door open.
Well, we have for the Pyro multi-tool, we have a cutter attachment, but it doesn't really cut much of anything.
Yep.
Come on, we need a lightsaber. We all know. We all want to say it.
Suddenly, it's Sword Art Online. Everyone has lightsabers.
It's the future.
I'm with you until it starts blocking my shots, and then I'm gonna be like, "What the hell am I playing?"
They came out with the Atlas. They came out with the Geo. The next thing is gonna be the fighting bot. It's gonna have a Mark 1 sword and a Mark 2 shield.
No. Fisticuff is gonna have bronze fists.
They're gonna be fighting. They're gonna be fighting. Maybe it's electric swords. Maybe it's a lightsaber type thing. I'm
I'm here
telling you,
waiting for jousting. Like
Yeah,
back
people will-
to
What?
2.1 era, where instead of dogfighting, we jousted at each other, where we just flew full speed, gunning each other. Whoever
I thought you meant
gets
on the
hit
backs of
first
Copions.
dies.
Yes, riding
But-
Copions.
Well, that's space battles, but bring that back, but into fisticuffs. So we EVA into each other as quickly as humanly possible, and then punch each other as we're going by. Alternatively, we just use like the not the FS9, but the R6 sniper rifles as the actual joust stick itself on top of Copians. That would absolutely work.
You know, that actually is kind of interesting. You got me thinking about oh my god, what game
Zero
was
Zero
this?
Pets.
PUBG, and how they
Yes.
had training grounds.
Oh, gee.
And that would be interesting to have like boxing gyms and different places where you can do some PvP without actually like losing your ass, and it's more of training
called
more
Arena
than anything.
Commander.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Well,
Arena
you
Commander.
have Arena Commander, but I mean, just something that people can
doesn't
stroll
work.
in and out of.
So
Yeah,
Arena
Commander
Commander at
blows right
home.
now.
When they have to give up a rifle slot for their samurai sword.
Actually, speaking of which,
Undoubtable echo, that will certainly happen.
Actually, speaking of bladed weapons and inventory slot, didn't the change with the medgun also introduce a permanent spot for a knife? I thought I read something or heard something about that.
Yeah, because you're not giving up that second multi-tool slot.
The utility slot is just like a knife.
It's a knife for the
Wow.
med gun now, isn't it?
Yep.
Is anybody in game? Can they test that? At least that's what I thought it was.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's a
So
knife
does
or a
that
med
mean
gun.
that you can no longer carry a knife and a gun? I guess so.
No, you can
Well,
carry
how
a
am I
knife
gonna
and a
knife
gun.
gun people?
I feel
You're
like
always going to
knife
carry a
should
knife.
almost be a separate armored
Yeah.
thing. But
I mean,
that's
are they? What use are
wishing.
they? I was having this conversation with
Exactly,
Guy.
but I mean,
like
it's
what?
you're out of ammo, you got nothing left, and you're like, well, at least I've always got this
I
knife
could
with me.
stab this guy with it.
Yeah, I've
but if
always
This
got
random
the
ship that I
knife.
found.
when have you ever stabbed somebody successfully with a knife in Star Citizen?
Trust
have
the old
played-
one.
I've crawling up behind people and knocked people out, and then had to do the painful. You know, the knife is how you make sure they're not coming back, right?
I don't have any evidence, but I have sheathed someone in prison multiple times.
Yeah, people want their
In
Metal
game,
Gear.
in game.
Yeah, people want their Metal Gear gameplay, sneaking around and shivving people.
I mean, yeah, like Klesher has the most brutal PvP fights. They don't let up.
And I will say this: the melee take from the back melee takedown was more effective than the knife. I'll give that to Jar Jar.
Oh
The
yeah,
knife,
swiping at somebody face on is
Well,
that's so
Dude,
ineffective.
you play Gun
game.
Rush. The last weapon you get is a knife.
That is
And
where I
the
got
person
one.
who gets the knife first, it doesn't matter. 5 people get to the knife before they can get a kill. It's like I don't know. It's crazy.
Impossible.
Why put it in?
Yeah.
And if you think about it, everyone's armored. So like a knife isn't going to cut your armor. So maybe if you have like light armor or something, they can get you
go
in
for
like
the undersuit.
in the armpit. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, you got to splinter cell them, or it's nothing.
But that's not what they do. They just do a takedown, like a fucking suplex, a John
right
Cena.
behind middle mouse button, and that's it.
Right, but that's not the knife. Right.
Oh, they're
That's
just
just
gonna
like
add the animations for that, just like
I thought if
anything
you
else.
had it
Everything's just
equipped,
tier
it
0.
would switch it, but maybe that was when they first introduced it. I thought if you had knife equipped and you walked up behind somebody, it would. God, am I thinking how many patches ago? It's been so long since I've used a knife. When they first brought it, I remember when they first brought it, that was the advertised functionality. No longer are you, clubbing somebody on the back of the head to knock them out. You're doing the whole slit.
Well, the animation could be they're just broken, like the ATC's not working. It's there, they're not executing.
So much of this game, yeah, hidden behind of earlier patches.
We are how
Yeah.
many people into this game?
How many people into this game? Is that what you said?
How many millions of people have put forth in support of Star Citizen?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh,
I think it's like
well,
over 300 million.
No, what? According to their website, it's over. It's like
Or 3
close to
million.
5 million
million, yeah.
accounts. They have.
Oh wow,
think-
we're when
Pretty
the
sure it's
heck did we
5.
get past 4?
Oh, I thought we got past 4 like a long time ago.
Yeah, it's over 5.5.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know. Mine
5.5.
says just wow,
That
5
is
and a
not
half.
the active player count number, but
No,
No, that's a count.
Well, yeah, half
Now,
of
how
those
many do you
are
guys have alt accounts?
alt for someone.
you could have 300K there from 2016 alone. Like, that
I mean, but
haven't
still,
come back.
I mean, over a
But-
million people. That's a that's a shit ton of people for a
Nowadays,
game that
yeah.
doesn't have knife gameplay or poop
Grammatical
biological.
gameplay.
What's the biological loop?
Yeah, solid liquid waste.
Look, my Valkyrie has a toilet. That's all I care for, and a shower.
And we should be able to use them. And I'm glad we're going to be able to.
Well, do we
Yeah.
want to be able to use it like my summer car? Just walk around pissing everywhere, drinking alcohol.
Well, so
Like getting
okay,
more
you mentioned that
SK.
someone posted on Reddit about the Valkyrie. Someone posted like, "Oh, we should have an exploration Valkyrie," which I totally agree with.
I
I
need a
remember when the Valk
homesteader.
came out.
But yes,
Like
there's
the
A homestead,
Valve.
because the Valkyrie would lend itself to that, like its entire structure and the way it like. Oh man, I get that'd be my
Four-engine
ship then.
drop ship. Like
it's been my ship since I got it years ago. The Valkyrie, on paper, is just an oversized Cutlass Black, and the Cutlass Black is effectively the perfect ship for 90% of people who play this game.
So back to our question though,
Yeah.
what's your
Yes.
loadout on your Valkyrie?
I
How
am
you
a
find that?
stock guy.
Yeah.
I can't I can't be arsed to change the weapons out or do anything.
Why do you think that is, Feet?
Just lazy.
Oh yeah.
No,
I don't understand
it's
the
a whole
entire
other tier in the
system.
weeds to get into components. It really is.
Yeah,
Especially when the patch cycle is what it is, and gosh, you lose it every other patch. You got to re-equip. Don't forget to unequip your components. It's like yikes. If you play this game for a 3-year time period, that becomes an arduous
almost second
task.
nature. But if you're just getting into components, it's a mess.
But don't you guys, you guys may have a ASOP terminal full of ships, but don't you end up only flying like a handful of them all the time?
No.
Well, for
Yes.
Three.
I've got,
I think most people 3 is probably like on a high end of the number, but 3, yeah.
Me at like 57.
Since the last reset, I've delivered my Vulture, my Mole, my Connie, my Zeus, and my F8C and my F7A. So that's 6 ships, and they all have their loadouts that I change based on what the meta is. Right now we're in like the stealth meta. You want to have your detection signature as low as possible. For PvP, it's all repeaters for me. CF, whatever, Panthers, Rhinos, and for PvE spaceship loadouts, I'd go with the all attritions. Anything laser repeater I love because fast cycle time. They don't have the highest alpha, but they have decent out. Well, now they have a higher alpha now, but they have good DPS, fast cycle time. They reload quick. You don't have to stop in the middle of your game and go and reload ballistic ammunition. I hardly ever use missiles, so don't have to worry about reloading those, and those have become so damn expensive.
Yeah, I have the Super Hornet ball turret on an F7A, and I just don't use the missiles just because it doesn't pay the none of the HRTs that I've done would pay off the missiles I would use.
Right.
But don't y'all find? I mean, I fly around this Saber often enough. Like, there's the claim time on even the Saber is 3 minutes rushed at 3K, maybe
Right.
to pay the expedited fee. That is so marginal in the grand scheme to where
Yeah, you can do
you're
that.
just replacing. I just replace the ship constantly everywhere I go once you put the components on it.
Yeah, but once you get into bigger ships, the claim times will get longer and longer and longer. And
But you're not flying those unless it's a org event.
yeah, well,
like I got nobody to crew my Polaris unless it's an org event, and then I'll just
right.
claim it at the
Yeah,
station
that's
20
true.
minutes
That's
ahead of
true.
time.
That's true.
And I'll claim the Polaris. Like I've never had to pay for those torpedoes to come back. I've never been in a sustained event long enough to that where the Polaris survives and then goes back to the station, and everybody wants to stay on it. It's just very claim times are. It's very forgetting. I feel like that whole game loop.
Well, it is now. It's not going to be that way, except for maybe, especially for the fighter, the arrow. That's the only one that's part of a starter pack. But they've said those claim times are going to go up because it's going to be equivalent to the amount of time it would take to craft the ship.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, how would that work
If
between
that
something
happens,
like
that would
the?
change things.
your
It's just, we're
character
10 years
death.
deep, and claim times have.
Yeah, that's
typically,
just a
even when they upped
convenient.
them drastically. They upped them drastically to like 2 patches ago,
Right.
and everybody was upset. But it's still, it's 5 minutes. I mean, it takes that long to wrangle 3 people together. I mean,
And this
it's
is
not
why
a.
I own 7 Hornets.
I don't think it's. It's not drastic, and if you
Well,
have to rearm missiles, they are expensive. I wish every other. I mean, all our PvP ammo on the person is not expensive, right? I mean, I can buy Klarna ammo. I can buy Cruz Lux at what 79 alpha AUC or 120 alpha AUC. The stuff that you need that you actually operate as a player is very inexpensive in this game. Currently,
for
at this
now,
current patch, for
yeah.
now.
Well, you have to keep in mind that's all going to be adjusted later. We're going to have longer claim times. We're going to have the insurance mechanic for LTI and all this other crap is going to be fleshed out. Death of a
I've heard that
spaceman.
for 5 years, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well, remember the game was supposed to release in 2014.
yeah, 5 years being generous. I've heard that for 10. Like it's at some point, I'm sure the dam will break and it will go up. But I think they have a massive new player. If you're a new player and you buy the Arrow, which is a fun little great zippy ship, and you all of a sudden they die because it's their first time in the seat, and then they have to wait 15 minutes for that. Like I think you've lost that new player. And I
Maybe.
think CIG realizes that, like somebody that's fresh to the game, I think they know it. Now I'm with you. Make it exponential as the ships get higher in value.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't see those starters being having those huge claim times, but anything other than the starters will definitely I see going way up.
But would
Yes.
you like what would you consider a starter? Like up to the Cutlass Black? Or
So whatever ship that you bought with the starter package. So you might, if you bought an Arrow like in game, it might be like a 15-minute claim time. But if that's your starter package ship, because it's your starter package, I would expect that to probably stay at that 40-second to like 2.5-minute, whatever the shorter claim times that they have now for
Yeah.
the starter ships.
I hope they don't do that. I hope
Arrow
maybe
is
there's only a
peak
few ships.
starter ship if it's still in there. Like that's a peak starter ship. Arrow will drop me in my Saber with a good enough pilot easily.
The
Yeah, you have to
reason
be able
why
to
I've
fly
gone
it.
up.
You can't hit the arrow. It's paper mache.
But it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
zippy. It's unbelievably zippy. It's like an Aurora out there. Like it's
Unless
better.
they tie it to
faster.
the age of your account, where they're like, well, you have a 6-month-old account, so you should know how to fly by now. So we're not going to give you the 30-second claim time.
That would be something I could see happening. Where hey, you've got X amount of hours in the game. You're now considered a player. Welcome, and here's your higher claim times.
I think the way they should handle that backlash, though, for the cost of the torpedoes and missiles is okay. That's fine that they rolled it back, but now every patch just increase it a little bit. Oh, it's going to be 1,000 more every patch, and it's just you won't notice it until
We'll have
until
patch
it's
inflation.
Yep.
Until
Yeah.
it's 40,000, and then you got to go do an HRT or two. And you were perpetually stuck, and then you're asking for, hey, does anyone have 2 million in chat?
Oh, everybody has 2 million.
Oh, everyone. The small
Yeah,
loan.
that's another thing
course.
that would have to address, which is This economy is wild.
I'm just.
Are
waiting
you still
for-
talking about the game or?
Yeah, sorry. Yes, I'm talking about the game.
I'm sorry. It's it's
But
2025.
yeah,
and
an obvious.
Why
I
not both?
heard
Caveat.
now. I heard that Hurston is going to start tariffing Quantanium.
Cool.
And
Fuck,
food
I don't
sounds
know
like
Hurston
we're all going to
anyway.
Grim
Fuck
Heck.
Hurston.
Fuck them.
Tariffs are the Quantanium fuel is going to go up pretty soon.
Well, the quality of this show's gone downhill, huh?
Okay. What was your loadout, by the way, Georgia?
My loadout, my FPS loadout is I rock is the AO9. I think is the sniper rifle. I like just a classic good sniper rifle, not a bolt action. Yeah, it's something that I can like pop off a few shots in pretty quick. But it still has a good enough punch. So I'm always going to be rocking a sniper. Also, because I don't want you to see me. I don't want to get hurt. You know. And then the PASC.
Is that why you wear purple?
I don't like how you're examining me right now. And then the
Not
P8SC, which is a
examining,
nice
it's
little
just
subby.
judgment.
I feel trapped now.
And
Sometimes you gotta make a
I
statement.
well, and I'm not gonna rock a pistol anymore. I'm always gonna rock the med gun or whatever the med stuff is.
So you're going to stop rocking the pistol in order to cosplay not having the med slot?
I think
Gonna rock
90% of
that.
players are going to make that choice.
No, it's not cosplaying. It's next patch. It's happening, right?
Well, but I'm saying now. Are you going to start doing that now already?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I hope they release that next patch in the next week or so, before next episode. I hope.
Well, come on. I think let's let them cook.
Yeah, maybe the PTU.
They're always going a little bit fast lately, and then all we have is we don't have just the PTU broken. Then we have the PU broken. So now everything's broken, and everybody's pissed off. I'd say let them cook. If anything, put out some stuff on the Hotfix channel.
Yeah, but last week, Wicket, you said TikTok, I'm getting old.
I am getting old, but I still want to have some kind of play. I want the elevators to work.
This game is my retirement
mechanics we
plan.
have to work.
CIG, give me the paladin, please.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
am I
going to
have to leave my game account in for my kids in a will somewhere? I mean, what kind?
You
what
can
the
just
hell?
give me your account and I
Short
can just
answer
add
to that
the
is
list.
yes, Wicket. Like, I'm already thinking like, gosh, maybe how do I? Yeah, no, yes. Sadly,
Well, the
yes.
thing is you don't have to play Star Citizen right now, dude. There's so many other good games out there.
Yeah, but lately that's all I want to play is this crazy silly little space game of ours.
Well, I've been playing
There's nothing
Halo.
like
It is fun, isn't it? Like,
It
there's a
is.
lot.
Sometimes it is. Like
game.
lately, I've been hunting Copian and the Boyds.
From a helicopter.
No,
You've been hunting from your ship, sniping them.
I've been landing.
We should
That's
do
what
that,
I've been
Georgia.
doing.
That would
I
be
hope they're
fun.
endangered.
I did that with the Valkyrie. I just parked
Yeah.
in the sky, opened up the side door, and just took a few shots, came back down.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad they've given the Valkyrie love.
You have
little bit
no
more and more
idea. I
love
am
as
so
times
over the
come.
moon for it.
The
I
Copians can be
wish they
vicious
would do that
too,
with
though.
the other drop ship, which is the Prowler. I cannot wait until they finally return to that ship one day.
I forgot the
Hopefully,
Prowler
one day.
even existed.
I know most people have. It's because it's broken beyond belief.
Last week. If you first of all, if you're listening and you've got this far into the podcast, thank you. You're in like the 5% of people who listen past the hour mark. But if you have, and if you haven't checked out last week's episode, check out last week's episode. We talk a lot of shit about the Prowler or the short 20-minute we put out there. Tav is very upset about this, and I'm pretty sure we could go back. Tav, pretty sure you've mentioned the Prowler every week, 11 weeks in a row.
I do because it's such it's not an inexpensive ship, and B,
Yeah.
like turns out there's a whole Fox Gaming is a channel on YouTube. I encourage people that are other Alien or just if you're a Prowler fan to check it out. He really goes through why the ship is so broken, gives you the issue council links to go in and upvote. It's so if you are a Prowler fan, like it is a very niche community.
Doxes the designers so you can harass their families.
Yeah, we're not there yet, but like we would like to see it at a $400 price point. You would like it to, I don't know, access the pilot seat. That would be preferable. It's I
That's
could
just-
go
that's
on
just
It's
today.
that
crazy.
alien tax right there.
That's that
Half of
crazy
that.
talk.
For Fox Gaming on YouTube, definitely check out his channel. It's
And that's a good endorsement
really
from
goes
Tav
into
because Tav's
There's-
seen literally every single video on YouTube about the Prowler.
yes,
Editor, put a link in the description.
absolutely. We'll put one down in the description below for Fox
Ah,
Gaming.
fuck.
That's,
That means I have to do it.
Well, I'll throw it in there. I can go in after the fact. I'll make sure anything that helps my issue council votes for what is a long forgotten ship.
All right, everybody vote for Tav's issue council. Like and subscribe the show. But most important of all, just guys, just keep listening. If you want to join us, you can join us any week. We love all the callers. We don't want to keep anyone waiting. Is this the most callers we've had?
Yeah. I mean,
Probably.
yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I think this on a level with last one.
Well, thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to end this show like I do all the shows. Who was first? It was Shveet. Shveet. Any last words for Chris Roberts?
I
To
was
citizen
gonna
of the
say we should
internet?
probably do like a dad advice towards the end.
Oh, do you have some?
Don't use your kid as a soccer ball. Dad advice.
Oh, I thought when you said dad advice, I thought it was something else. This is advice for dads.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were
yeah, let's go with that.
I'm with you.
All right, Lord Anubis, anything you want to say to CIG, the internet, or do you have any dad advice? Advice for dad?
Advice for dads. Praise and always always praise improvement. And never knock a kid's achievement if it's not the best. If they've got a B, if they got a C, don't joke about, like, hey, well, you should have got an A. It's just like generally it's the only advice I have. I don't know.
Oh, that was fucking wholesome, Anubis. Really unexpected coming from you.
Love it.
I've been having
Wicket,
to
do you
think
have
about it a lot.
any? Screw it. Do you have any advice for dads?
No, I have advice for moms. Specifically, I don't know if she is one or not, but this is for you, Sandy Roberts. I hope you're not spending your raise all in one spot. Make sure your husband keeps his eye on the ball. Let's get this game across the finish line sometime soon, before I die. Thank you.
In our lifetime, please.
Love that. Love that. Echo 6, dude. Thank you for coming. First time on the show. Do you have any advice for dads?
Or anything for Chris Roberts. Either one works.
Echo 6? I think we've lost Echo 6. He was a comms officer.
Sorry,
Oh,
I had
He's
it
a
muted.
medic. Or no,
he
he
was
wasn't.
muted.
No, he was comms.
Oh, comms. Yeah.
Yep,
Trying
I
to
had it
figure it
muted. Gotta hit that mute button. Yeah, get your kids into playing video games. They're fun. Get to spend quality time with them, and you can always use another turret gunner.
And not
There
a
you go.
Amen.
PDC blade.
There you go. Tab, any advice for dads?
Yeah, when you open up the Jesus, if somebody had told me this, and I guess Wicked, I know you had said it, and I'm just a hard listener. I go into the options menu and enable the advanced HUD by default. Holy cow! It changed my entire game for Star Citizen. We should
That is
we should
brilliant.
make that a PSA at the start for listeners that make it past 30 seconds because that changed the entire way I play this game. At least for me,
You know, we'll
as a
cut
fighter
that.
pilot.
This is what we'll cut before the intro.
Yeah, just make sure that you get into that options menu and enable that by default. Advanced HUD. Oh my gosh.
And I'm pretty sure, Tav, you're the first person who's ever found that ever.
Well, you know what? Credit's undeserving as it goes to other people on the couch, but I'll take it. You know.
All right, let's Tav, let's play us out.
Again, dun, 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 dun. This is not the Hawaii Five-0 song.
Dun, 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 dun.